The creature lay trembling on the cold metallic floor of the intergalactic marketplace. His translucent skin barely concealed the slow, weak pulse of its bioluminescent veins. Around it, traders of various species bustled past, without sparing a glance. To them, it was just another discarded beast, an inconvenience best left to wither away. To Captain Elias Carter, it was something else entirely. The human captain paused mid-step, his boot hovering just above the floor before he turned toward the pitiful creature. His crew had moved ahead, absorbed in their mission to procure supplies, but something about the small, quivering form tugged at him. He crouched, reaching out slowly, careful not to startle it. It flinched. Fear and exhaustion radiated from its fragile body. Its 6 legs were curled inward, its large, glassy eyes blinking sluggishly as it struggled to breathe the heavily circulated station air. Scars lined its form, proof of mistreatment, of a life discarded like refuse. "Captain," a voice called behind him. It was Lieutenant Maria Velasquez, his second in command. She frowned as she followed his gaze. "It's just an animal. This place is full of them." Elias clenched his jaw. He had seen this before. Aliens treating weaker life forms as objects, as commodities. It was something humanity had fought hard to move past, yet here, in the vastness of the stars, such cruelty was commonplace. "No one else is going to help it," he muttered. Velasquez sighed but knew better than to argue. "You know we don't have space for a pet." Elias ignored her, standing and looking around the bustling station. "Who owns this thing?" he called, his voice carrying an authority that turned heads. A squat, reptilian merchant with scales like cracked stones slithered forward. "You want the thing? It's defective. Weak. Won't fetch a price anywhere." It hissed in a bored tone. "I was going to toss it into the waste chute." Elias felt his stomach twist. "How much?" The merchant's narrow eyes gleamed with amusement. "For a creature that's worth nothing. 5 credits. A scoff of disbelief escaped Velasquez, but Elias had already pulled the credits from his belt, tossing them at the merchant. He crouched again, slowly extending a hand toward the trembling alien animal. "It's okay now," he whispered. The creature hesitated, but after a moment, weakly nudged his palm with its soft snout. Elias felt the gentle pulse of its breath, warm and faint against his skin. Carefully, he scooped it into his arms. It let out a soft, warbling sound, half-conscious, but comforted by the unexpected kindness. The cruise ship, the Starbound Hope, was no luxury cruiser, but it was home. As Elias carried the fragile being aboard, he felt an odd sense of responsibility settle over him. Humanity had been seen as the underdog in the grand scheme of the galaxy, considered a young, reckless species by the elder races. But if there was one thing humans were known for, it was their ability to care, to fight for the helpless, to defy expectations. The alien creature, dubbed Nyx by the crew, was in bad shape. It took days of careful attention, nutrients administered drop by drop, a warm bed crafted from spare blankets, and whispered reassurances from the captain himself. It was Velasquez, despite her initial protests, who discovered that Nyx responded to music. Whenever someone hummed, the creature's bioluminescence pulsed in rhythmic waves, as if it could feel emotions through sound. Weeks passed, and against all odds, Nyx thrived. It regained its strength, its 6 legs carrying it through the ship's corridors with surprising agility. It chirped in delight whenever Elias entered a room and nuzzled against crew members who once doubted its survival. Then came the distress signal. It was an uncharted world, a forgotten place on the fringe of the galaxy. The message was garbled, but the desperation was clear. A colony of Nyx's kind, hundreds of them, were being systematically wiped out by raiders. They were a species deemed insignificant by the galactic community, left to perish without intervention. But Elias Carter was human, and humans didn't walk away. The Starbound Hope arrived like a storm of righteous fury. The crew, seasoned fighters and relentless strategists, took down the slavers with precision strikes. The battle was fierce, but short-lived. Humans had a reputation for punching above their weight class, and today was no exception. As the dust settled, the crew stood amidst the wreckage, staring in awe. The alien creatures, once fearful and cowering, now emerged from their hiding places, and among them was Nyx, chirping excitedly as it rejoined its kind. Elias knelt as Nyx approached. "This is your home, buddy," he said softly, stroking the creature's head. "You're free now." Nyx hesitated, its bioluminescence flickering uncertainly. Then, with a final lingering nuzzle against Elias's hand, it turned and joined its people. Velasquez sighed. "You just had to go and make it emotional, didn't you?" Elias chuckled, standing as he watched the creatures vanish into the safety of the wilds. "We're human. It's what we do." As the starbound Hope lifted off, leaving the planet and its newly freed inhabitants behind, one undeniable truth remained. No one had saved these helpless alien creatures. No one except the humans.